And one of those elements that we have is an element called culture. And in light of that, I'd like to invite up Bill Allen, who is our culture creator tonight. Culture creator is a fun thing that we've been doing. Part of what we believe here is that culture is something that God has told us to make, to steward, and to keep. And so we're trying to feature different people in our community who are using what they do on a daily basis to create good culture. So, Bill, would you share a little bit with us?
Sure. Good evening. Bill Allen. Basically, I co-founded EvolveLAB about 1.5 years ago. It's a small startup. We have myself, one other business partner, and then 2 employees. And basically what we do is we create cool stuff for architects. So we are a support arm for architects, engineers, contractors, and owners. And so trying to help them be successful in their designs, designing facades and content creation, things like that is pretty much what we do. So like in this example, I'm kind of flexing, this parametric or dynamic facade. And it's a lot of fun. Often, like when people ask, like, well, so like you're an architect. So no, I'm not an architect. I'm a support arm for architects. It's more like technology, and they're like, oh, you're in IT, and I'm like, nope, not in IT either. And so trying to kind of communicate these pictures help do me justice. I think this is another one we did up in Breckenridge, Colorado. It's a parking garage, the facade. And so that's a little bit about me and what I do. As far as culture and how I try to infuse culture at EvolveLAB is first I try to surround myself with people that I like to be like, people that I aspire to, other entrepreneurs, people that are successful, people that speak life into their staff and their team members. And so I try to surround myself with those type of individuals. And then the other thing I try to do is I try to hire people for the cultures and values that I want within my own company. So as an example of that, I had to hire somebody, and I knew these two people interviewed for the job, knew them both very well. One was kind of more pessimistic, but looked really, really good on paper. She had a ton of experience. And the other person was kind of more optimistic and had less experience, and I actually went with the person that was more optimistic because that was the type of culture and the values that we wanted to instill in our company. Up here, this is my boys. They come in to work sometimes, and they help us create cool stuff. They got Legos, and we help them with the modeling. So kind of like bring your kids to work. We try to have fun with that. And then I do a lot of engagements like roundtables and public speaking. I was just in Las Vegas last week for a conference and doing some public speaking. So I'm also kind of a mouthpiece for the company and trying to communicate, what's important to us and trying to shake things up in our industry. So
very cool. One of the things that I had asked you about last service that I thought was really cool is this was a big decision for you to co-found something, and it involved a lot of risk. And I wanted to ask you about what was that like for you, and how have you seen God with you in that kind of endeavor?
Definitely. So to start a new company is terrifying. Basically, it's your livelihood. It's how you get income. So if it doesn't succeed, it's really hard. And so my dad was kind of encouraging me, and I was telling him kind of my dream and what I wanted to do. And he said, well, go ahead and do it. Why don't you do it? And I said, well, I got a mortgage, and I have 3 boys and a wife. And so he encouraged me. He said, well, if it doesn't work, one of these other architecture firms will just scoop you up. And I said, that's a good point. And so I decided to go for it. My wife was super supportive and has continued to be supportive. And through that, I found a closer connection to depending on God. For any of those of you that have started a company, you understand, like, cash doesn't just come in. Like, it's difficult. So just having that dependency on God and trusting Him for His provision and providing for you and your family has been super, super helpful.